There are two different ways we can write fractions where you have more than one whole. So the improper form, the numerator is greater than, bigger than the denominator. There's nothing wrong with writing them this way. A lot of people prefer them written this way, so this is fine. Just make sure you always simplify. That is an absolute rule in math class. You always have to simplify your fractions. So when you look down below right here, this is where you have improper fractions. Mixed numbers is where you have a whole part and a fraction. So we write that as A and then B over C. So you have a big number out in front and then your small fractions. So if you look down at 16 through 21, those are examples of mixed numbers. So our job is to be able to go back and forth. So when you are going from an improper fraction to a mixed number, what you have to do is figure out how many times the bottom number, in this case 6, goes into 19. Now, if you aren't sure, you can do 19 divided by 6, and notice we get 3 as our whole part. So ignore the fraction for now, or ignore the decimal, and we know we have 3. That's our whole number. So then you do 6 times 3 to get 18. So we've used 18 out of 19, so that means there's 1 left. So 3 1/6 is what our final answer would be for writing that as a mixed number. When you have a negative, just ignore it at first. So again, you have to ask yourself, how many times does 3 go into 26? If we do 26 divided by 3, we get 8 whole ones. So then we need to do 8 times 3 is 24. So we've used 24 of the 26, so there are 2 left. So 8 2/3. Don't forget to write that as a fraction, and then you put the negative out in front of your whole number. You can go ahead and pause the video and try the next ones to see if you get them correct. For number 12, you need to see how many times does 2 go into 17. Again, if you're not sure, 17 divided by 2 gives you 8. Hopefully we know that the 0.5 means in a half, but if not, you can do 8 times 2 to get 16, so there's 1 left out of the 17, so 8 1/2. Number 13, we do 21 divided by 4 and get 5.25. So 5 is our whole amount. Again, some of these decimals you might just know. If not, 5 times 4 is 20 out of 21, so there's 1 left. So 5 1/4 would be our final answer. 14, 3 would go into 7 twice, giving us 6, so there would be 1 left. So 2 1/3. 15, again, ignore the negative right away. 35 divided by 8 gives us 4 for our whole number. 8 times 4 is 32. So 32 out of 35, if you need to subtract that out, you end up with 3/8. 4 3/8, and then we need to have the negative out in front. Okay. So you're going to take your top number divided by your bottom number to get your whole number. Take your whole number times your bottom, so then you can figure out how many you have left over to write your fraction with. When we go from a mixed number to an improper fraction, this should be a little bit easier, except for you have to watch out for those negatives. So I'm going to write it in just with letters, and then I'll write it in words. So when we have A and B over C, so that's our mixed number, to change it, we do A times C, so the front number times the bottom number, plus B, the top number. That becomes our new top number, and then all over the bottom number has to stay C in this case. Okay, so you're going to do the front number times the bottom number, and then plus the top number, all over the bottom number. Now, you don't have to write that out every time. You can just do this in your head or with your calculator. 3 times 5 plus 1. You can do it all at once. Or you can say 3 times 5 is 15. 15 plus 1 is 16. So our top number is 16, and then our bottom number stays as 5. Now with these, you should always be able to check. So if you're going back and forth, you should be able to check what we just did up above. 16 divided by 5 is 3. 3 times 5 is 15. So there's 1 left over. So that's how you can go back and forth to check your answers. 7 and 2/3. So you're going to do 7 times 3 plus 2. Front number times the bottom number plus the top number. That gives us 23 over 3. Just like we did up above, you have to ignore the negative at first. Don't do -1 times 10. That will give you the wrong answer. So you just have to pretend that negative is not there. 1 times 10 plus 9. That'll give us 19. So this becomes 19 over 10. Then you put the negative out in front. So don't ever multiply by the negative when you're doing these. Okay, go ahead and stop the video and see if you can get the other 3 correct. For number 19, again, you're going to ignore the negative. 2 times 13 plus 11 gives us 37 for our top number over 13. And now we put the negative sign out in front. Negative 37 over 13. Number 20, same thing. Ignore the negative. 4 times 7 plus 3 gives us 31 over 7, and then the negative out in front. And finally 21, 10 times 8 plus 1 gives us 81 over 8.